My friends. I'm super excited to see you. Actually, I'm not seeing you because, right, this is a video and I'm pretending like you're in front of me. I hope to see you soon. I hope that you'll text me, honestly, in like 10 minutes and say, hey, Austin, I want to talk. And we'll schedule a time. I've been on the journey you're on. I've walked in your shoes. Now, I know the ins and outs of your struggles, and a lot of you I let in on mine. The journey has been challenging, right? I, as a therapist, did my best, and I'll be honest. The things I know now, honestly, the things I've learned in the past 2 weeks are more valuable than anything I taught you in 2 years. I've been searching for better answers for me and for you. Now, I made a lot of good progress, and realistically, my marriage has been pretty good for about a year and a half, 2 years. I made some pretty consistent progress about 5 months ago with my kids, and kind of this last piece of shame of beating myself up for the past and recognizing, like, you know what? They still knew they were loved, and I was always trying. And I'm good now, and I know how to stay good for them. I want to let you know a little bit about the journey, because knowing what I know now, I would do it all differently. Now, I've been working on something I'm going to tell you about for the better part of 2 years, and it actually shifted multiple times. I'm not okay offering you something that I'm not confident in. I'm not okay building a company that I don't think can get you the results you want. So I left Addo Recovery about 2 years ago. I was the director of therapist development, which means I was tasked with training all the therapists. Now, at this point, there's about 20,000 therapists on the list that I would have been responsible for training. And I left because I knew I could train really well in what I currently knew, which does work. People were getting better, couples were healing, but it was taking too long. I wanted to figure out there's got to be a better way, especially for these guys who are trying. They're doing everything. They're going to group, they're reaching out, they're trying to connect, right? They're trying to create safety, yet they still trigger into these negative emotions of anger or sadness or fear or guilt or shame or these negative limiting beliefs. And I wanted something different. I've walked that road too, and in all honesty, it wasn't until fairly recently that I finally had some shifts that I needed. Some real deep experience with healing to see myself clearly. And what I realized is it's so easy. It's easy. And I've had this idea for a 4-day intensive for about a year. I saw this video online of this guy in California, not a therapist, a businessman who wanted to lead men to be good husbands and fathers while they're being businessmen. And I realized I need to build something for these men I've worked with that I wish I had early on, knowing what I know now. I call it Rise Week. Rise Week is 4 days all-inclusive, like nothing you've ever experienced before. This is not therapy. This is not group therapy. This is not a book club. This is the place where you find your soul. This is the place where you reconnect with you. You reconnect with your creator, whether you believe in God or energy or evolution. We help you connect to your source of power. We help you connect to your values. We help you learn how to connect to your wife and your kids and how to repair any damage that's been done. A Rise Week is going to be fun. I almost said freaking awesome because it is, but it's going to be fun, but it's going to be hard. It will test you some. Now, the reason for that is a lot of you have forgotten who you really are. You've forgotten how much strength you have. You've been beat down by this thing we call addiction. And unfortunately for a lot of us, as we engaged in the recovery community, every single negative part about us, that got lumped into the addiction too. So we had all this evidence that we're just addicts. Guess what? You're not an addict. You're not an addict. Even if you acted out yesterday, that's not who you are. Now, you might be addicted. I absolutely was addicted. I was doing things I didn't want to do. I would break big boundaries, even at the threat of losing my marriage. I was addicted. Now, I was also angry. That was another symptom of the deeper problem. I was also filled with shame. Now, that shame was there before the addiction. The addiction just magnified it and created some more reasons to feel shame. But that's not who I was. That's not who you are. I don't feel like I'm an addict anymore. I'm not acting out. I'm not angry anymore. I don't feel anxiety anymore. I know who I am, and I know who you are. I've had an opportunity to spend some time with you. You've shared hard things, but what's amazing is you shared them, and you were willing to get help. A lot of men do the same things we've done, and they don't even try. They don't even care to change. They don't even care to try to help their wife heal or be better for their children. I've sent this to only 96 of you out of all the men I've ever worked with. 96 of you were fighting for your relationship. I recognize some of you may have lost those relationships, but you're still going to engage with your children, and chances are you'll get in another relationship if you're not already. There's some things that are going to change everything for you at Rise Week. Rise Week, we break through once and for all the negative shame, whether it's I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not whatever, or the limiting beliefs, I can't. Now, you can. All you need to do is see your source of strength and the strength that's within you. And then you need to be reminded of that and know how to capture that daily. So the daily rise is the next thing I want to share with you. And actually, I'm going to be sending you a probably week or 2 week kind of trial of that. It's not quite ready yet. I'm hoping very early next week, I'll be able to start sending you some consistent things. Actually, that first message you got from me came from the platform we built. Now, the Daily Rise is the solution to, well, 2 things. It came out of me seeing you guys in therapy weekly and you having a good therapy session and being motivated and then coming back and going, I didn't do anything different. I still feel crappy or whatever. I realized how helpful it would be if we had something daily that reminded us of our strength. So the Daily Rise allows me to send you a video from YouTube or Vimeo, a clip from a movie that's going to move you. Maybe it's Braveheart, maybe it's Gladiator, maybe it's something inspirational from, I don't know, Conor McGregor. If you don't like him, I won't send that to you, whatever. But something that can help you feel as you watch it, a shift. So let's say you wake up triggered sexually, let's say you're anxious, let's say you're depressed. You watch this video and it loosens the grip on that emotion. Then you'll likely get a short little video from me, something therapeutic, right? Something to help you know that you don't have to stay stuck in those emotions. And the next thing is a meditation that I'm super excited about. Now, I'm not like good with coping only. Now, the way I see mindfulness now, it's like I already feel crappy and I'm going to sit with it and kind of not react to it. I'm going to cope with these negative emotions. I'm not okay with that. A lot of what's offered is coping. What I want to do is help you know how to shift out of it and over time break through that where you don't feel it anymore. Now, I'm not positive we can do that alone with just the daily rise. You have the 4-day experience at Rise Week, and then you have the daily reminder. Yeah, you'll absolutely break through it. But the daily rise, so you get a video from me from a Hollywood movie clip, you get a little message from me, and then I guide you on a meditation where you break through any of the negative emotions you're feeling. I help you connect with your power. I help you connect to your purpose so you feel confident. You feel happy. You feel strong. Right? And each day I'm going to help you get into a positive state that you can move into the rest of your day with. A daily rise allows me to also send you something later in the afternoon. My preference is you watch it after work and before you meet with your family. Now, this came from something I used to do when I was in Las Vegas, actually, where it started. At that point, I was seeing about 30 clients a week. I was doing 2 groups. I was running phase 1 of Lifestar, and I was training other therapists. And I would come home just like spent emotionally. Like, I started doing trauma, and I was seeing you guys and hearing your stories and your wife's stories, but I also started seeing, rape victims and PTSD and just these heavy trauma things. And I'd come home and it was like I didn't have energy for my wife or my children. So I started just sitting in my driveway before I came in, and I kind of closed my eyes. And I'd start thinking, what do I want tonight to look like? What's going on for me inside? What might be going on inside my home? What's it been like for my wife? She's had 2 kids. I'd get in tune with what her day might have been like and how she might be feeling, and I'd get in tune with how I wanted to come through for her. And I'm gonna come in the door, and my kids are gonna want to wrestle and hug. I'm not necessarily feeling that, so what am I gonna do? I kind of guide myself through this process of how I was gonna do the night, how I was gonna be the man I wanted to be for them. So now, a little reminder for me in the afternoons. Another video to connect you to your power, and a guided little meditation to help you play out the night in your head and make it what you want it to be. Anticipating, my wife might be stressed out. I might walk in the door and she might say something that normally would affect me. I'm not going to let it. I'm going to be loving, I'm going to be confident, and I'm going to create the interactions I want with her and with my kids. You do that daily. I don't know how long it'll take, but I promise you 1 week of that, your wife will start to notice. You do 2 months, it's going to change the landscape of your marriage. You do it for 6 months, my guess is you're connecting pretty regularly. The other cool thing about this, if you come to Rise Week, is you get an added bonus of direct guidance on healing her heart. I will remind you each day, do these things today, tonight. Have this conversation. Share this thought, this idea, these feelings. You'll get guidance on repairing, and it will be specific to what you need because I'll know where you're at because you'll come to Rise Week. The other thing is Legion. Legion is cool. I did not want to build an addiction recovery community. I liked going to group. I connected with brothers, but the reality is we focused on our negatives the whole time. Rise Week, Legion, and the Daily Rise is not an addiction recovery program, but it will help you more than anything you've done in the past in the name of addiction recovery. I created it that way because what we need isn't just focusing on getting out of the negative. What we need is a focus on who we are. Right, here's normal life. Let's talk about this in the form of marriage too. Here's baseline. I get married. Don't betray me. Don't have sex with someone else. Don't watch other people have sex on the internet. Don't yell at me. Don't cuss at me. Don't manipulate me. I didn't mean to make that smaller. Don't manipulate me. This is the negative. And we've done these things. And so much of our focus has been getting up to here. Not doing the negative. Not being this guy. But what we need to focus is, what do these guys do that have happiness, that have connection, whose wives respect them, whose wives are willing to be vulnerable, whose wives are willing to be sexual because they want to be, because they feel close. What do these men do? Rise Week, the Daily Rise, and Legion is all focused on taking these steps to live up here. Now this is possible. This is how it should be. When you started dating and you experienced this, or you wouldn't have got married. And what happened was, somewhere along the road, you started doing these behaviors. Maybe it's lies. Right? Maybe you just don't engage. That's damaging too. Whatever it is, there's a way to get up here. The Daily Rise, Legion, will continue to guide you in the repair of the relationship after you've gotten your strength at Rise Week. Now, if you're coming to the table each day feeling weak and insecure, it's going to be really hard to repair. If you're reactive, right, it's going to be challenging. Rise Week will help you break through those emotions that create the reactivity. Now, there's like this weird thing behind my head. Oh, cameras these days are weird. Okay, whatever. That's weird. I don't like that behind my head, but there it is. My goal is for you to get on the phone with me and let me know where you are. I promise you, 4 days at Rise Week, no matter where you are, it's going to be the best thing. Even if you're doing well, we don't need to fight alone. Never in the history of man have men fought battles by themselves, yet we're doing it all the time now. And a lot of us have been losing. Legion is a brotherhood of men united by our strength and where we're going. We're united by our focus on the men we are becoming. Husbands and fathers that come through for our wives and our kids. I'd like you to get on the phone with me. Text me, let me know where you are. I would give you 100% money back guarantee. I'm not after your money. I'm not after selling you. I'm after your marriage becoming what it's supposed to be, because you deserve it, and so does she, and so do your kids. I was that little boy whose parents lost their marriage to my dad's addiction. Some of you know that. My dad was told by a therapist, all men look at porn, all men masturbate. And as far as I can tell, he stopped fighting. I was exposed to pornography at my dad's house, had a consistent dose from about age, 11 on. And that's how my addiction started. I didn't want to lose what I had with my wife and my little boy when I first entered recovery. Now we've since added a little girl who's 5, and we just had a little baby boy about 4 months ago. But at the time we just had one, and I looked at him and I saw myself in him. And I didn't want him to feel the pain I felt of not having my dad there every day. My dad was a good man who got addicted. And that was painful. It's hard. And the tools that are available for us now weren't available for him. And in all honesty, up until Rise Week, the Daily Rise and the Legion, the best thing for all of us wasn't available. Now, you know, I've been a director at 2 of the top clinics. LifeStar is one of the top clinics in the country for helping addiction. It's one of the only ones that focuses on helping the couple heal. And I left because it wasn't enough. I went through LifeStar, you know that. It didn't get us where we wanted to go. That's part of why I left. I went to Addo Recovery, which is largely viewed as the top betrayal trauma clinic in the country. When I got to Addo, I was the only trained couples therapist. The only one that was trained as a couples therapist. We weren't getting what we needed. I was able to build the marriage I wanted because I was unwilling to lose it. And my wife loved me too, and she was willing to keep going. So, 7 months ago, I knew that there were some missing pieces for me. We had made great progress and things were pretty good most of the time, but I would still trigger into anger. I would still trigger into insecurity, and in all honesty, I was still vulnerable to act out, which maybe I still am. But the difference now is I don't live in this constant fear of when this thing's going to come and get me. What I focus on is who I want to be today. I focus on engaging with my wife and meeting her needs and knowing that she'll meet mine. And we focus on parenting. I don't feel a pull to addiction. It's not a battle. I don't feel angry in my heart. I'm not quick to flip out like I used to be. Now, 6 or 7 months ago, there were still some things going on for me internally. And I stopped practicing. We moved to St. George, and I took those first few months to go, what's going on here? What's still missing? And I went to a training, and I actually volunteered and went on stage. And this guy guided me through this little process specific to my children. See, I carried this shame. Whenever my daughter especially would throw a 4-year-old fit, what would trigger in me was this belief of she's doing that because you sucked as a father. And I'd feel all this pain and shame. And sometimes I'd react and sometimes I'd just go into shame. But he did this process with me. I was on stage 17 minutes and it was gone. I haven't reacted that way to my daughter in 7 months. It's gone. That was the second training with that, I don't know what to call it, model of therapy. And I just got back actually, last Saturday before last, from the third training. And I was guided through by another person, a process that was the most powerful thing I've done in all of my recovery. Now, I've been building the Rise Week, Be the Rise, and Legion, hoping that these trainings would allow me to provide what I wanted to, but I wasn't positive. In all honesty, I've shot videos for you numerous times, but without the confidence that I could completely deliver the way I wanted. Now, I was confident I could build a program than anything else out there, but that's not what I want. What I wanted was to be able to deliver in 4 days what took me 7 years to accomplish. I wanted to create something that for 4 days, shame, anger, anxiety, fear, gone. Now, let me be careful with this. Those emotions can still happen because sometimes certain emotions are appropriate. But when my wife says, hey, could you use your blinker? And I flip out angry, that's not normal. Or when my little girl has a hard time going to bed and all of a sudden I feel like I'm the worst father in the world and I messed her up, that's not normal. You see, a lot of us something happens today, it's little, but we've got all this crap that we never dealt with, right? And so today's thing has all this big stuff, and we become more emotional than we should be. You come to Rise Week, and what we do is we handle it from the beginning to the end. We cut off all the struggle. I experienced something a week and a half ago that, had I experienced in the very beginning, would have changed everything. I saw clearly and felt who I am. Now, I had felt that before, and I was able to hold on to that, but now it's consistent. I know who I am. And what's awesome is my wife knew that all along. Even before I did, she could see it more clearly because my thoughts, my emotions kept trying to kick me out of that. So, wherever you are, don't keep fighting alone. Come to Rise Week, get on the phone with me. You get a year. No, that's not true. You get lifetime of Legion and lifetime of the Daily Rise for coming to Rise Week. Now that man that I mentioned that was doing that event that made me decide I wanted to build Rise Week, he was charging $10,000. And then he had what he called a brotherhood after that was $500 a month. I don't want to charge that. I didn't become a therapist to try to make a bunch of money. I became a therapist, honestly, to try to help me figure my stuff out and then to help others. So Rise Week is all inclusive. You come, we have a nice place for you to stay. We have a chef that feeds you. You get some cool gear. We're going to do some cool adventures, actually, which I'm excited about. Normal price for Rise Week is $5,000. You'll see that there is a past client special, which is you. You get $1,000 off, which makes it $4,000. If you not even sign up, if you get in touch with me sooner than later, I'll give you another $1,000 off. Legion, whoa, things happen. Legion, we get together as a brotherhood weekly. We discuss the challenges of being men, being fathers, being husbands. We talk about the repairs that need to be made. Now, I'm only bringing 15 men to Rise Week each month. In time, as I get more therapists trained in this new way of helping, we'll expand that probably up to 30, maybe 50. But for now, it's 15. You and 14 other men have the opportunity to meet together weekly and stay in a brotherhood. This isn't group therapy. This isn't the blind leading the blind. Some of the men here are doing well. They just want that extra strength. They need to come alive again. So many men don't know how to connect to themselves. This is about you coming alive and carrying that with you each day. Legion, let's say it was the equivalent of group therapy, which it's not, $200 a month. Okay, well, that's not that. You know what I mean, $200 a month, okay? The Daily Rise, this is something I wish I had. Daily help. This is probably the most valuable tool I could have created. Shifting my emotions instantly to be where I want to be and knowing how to do it. That's priceless. You get lifetime of the Daily Rise. Okay. All this, $3,000. I can't create a better deal than that. I want you to get what you sought out to get in the beginning. You both deserve it, her and you. I think about my children, that next generation, and I think of me and my wife loving each other but not being taught how to do marriage. We had a conversation yesterday, actually. I said, do you think you came to the table knowing how to, love me, meet my needs? She said, no, I wasn't taught that. I said, I wasn't either. I loved you, but I had no idea how to do it. We didn't know how to communicate our needs. We didn't know how to meet them. And then this mess happened, my addiction, all the stuff that came with that. I think about my kids. Your children are in the same boat. What if we can help them avoid the pain that we felt because we get it together? We show them, hey, this is how marriage is done. Not just that you fight for it, which is admirable, but we show them that it can be happy all the time. It doesn't have to be that our marriage is the struggle. It can be that husband and wife face life together. Life is good, and I'm not afraid that it's going to go away. I want that for you. Please text me, call me, email me. Let's get on the phone. It's time for you to take back your life. I'm offering, because I care about you, 100% money back guarantee. Rise Week, we do 4 weeks of pre-training where you can ask any questions. If you sign up and we get right before Rise Week and you're like, I'm not sure, I'll give you your money back. Actually, you know what? Come to Rise Week. Come to Rise Week. Experience it. If you come and you go, Austin, this isn't helpful or it's not for me or whatever, I'll give you your money back. That's not what I'm after. But I'm confident that this is the best thing you can do. This is what I would have wanted for me. In all honesty, I would still love it. And I'll get to experience it being there with you. But I'll never get to experience it like you will, because I'm the one that created it. I created it for us. We deserve something better. Now, not to knock the groups that we've been in or therapy, like I'm a therapist. But wouldn't it have been cool if we could have gone and connected with other men and found it ourselves in 4 days? Come back knowing how to strengthen our relationships and become the men we wanted to be. That's what it is now. 4 days. You get Legion, you get the Daily Rise, and then you just live life and be the man you're supposed to be and be happy. I'm not trying to make it more simple than it is. It can be that easy. But there's a process. The things I experienced back, 6 months ago in Boston, and the things I experienced in California 2 weeks ago. Those things are going to be incorporated into the Rise Week, and there is nothing that can touch it. You recognize I'm trained in the top couples therapy and the top trauma therapies. And what I'm going to guide you through in the Rise Week incorporates things more powerful than that to help you heal, and you'll learn how to help her heal. So, reach out. Text, call. If you know anybody else that this can help, which you do, we all do, send it to them. Give them my number. One of the biggest mistakes I made, I don't know if maybe I've shared this with some of you. About, a month into my marriage, maybe a little longer, I got online and pulled up a porn site I had seen in the past, but I didn't scroll down to where I could see anything, and I got kind of freaked out. I was like, I'm newly married, I don't want to be addicted, I don't want to go back to that, and I kind of freaked out. I told my wife, which kind of made her nervous because she didn't know that was a threat. And anyways, I was given a referral to a therapist. And I called, and it was like $85 a session. Now, at that point, I hadn't acted out for a long time. And it probably would have been pretty easy for me to avoid a lot of going back to addiction and all the marriage struggle. But I decided $85 was too much. I look back and it's like, I've probably spent just therapy alone over $30,000. And realistically, my whole training as a therapist was for me to figure this out. And I'm probably close to $200,000 at that point. And probably close to $200,000. And it's all worth it. I have my marriage, and I love my wife, and she loves me, and my kids are happy, and I know they're going to grow up with a dad that knows how to meet their needs. It's worth it. I know that you guys have spent money with me. I know that you've spent money with other places. My goal with this is that you don't have to spend any more money. $3,000, you get Rise Week, you get Legion, you get the Daily Rise. The only thing you might need, I don't even know if need's the right word, things that might be helpful is a little bit of couples therapy. But if you do what I'm going to teach you and we go through this process at Rise Week, you're not going to need couples therapy. I know that because I'm a couples therapist. So, yeah, $85 now seems like I could have avoided like 12 years. It was a struggle. Well, it's not been 12 years, 10 years. Past couple years have been good. So, yeah. If you have any, concerns, let's just get on the phone. Let's talk about it. I won't sell you. I'm not a salesman. I'm a therapist, and I'm your friend. And I'm a man who cares about family. I care about your marriage. I care about you. So let's talk about it. 801-842-1784. It's helpful if you do this little application first. Just kind of lets me know a little bit where you're at and knows, who I'm talking to. But if you want to text me directly, yeah, let's do it. For you wives that have watched this, I want you to know, I know he loves you. I know he wants you to be happy and him to be happy with you. The things he's needed haven't been available. I've known that for a couple years now. Some of you, I shared that. I kept saying, I know what needs to happen, but it's not out there yet. That's why I decided to go build it. This is what will help more than anything else. I promise, both of you. Let's continue the journey. I'll talk to you soon.